Kia ora, New Zealand. Welcome to Sweet Chain Live. This is episode 29. And hello to you all. And welcome, Andrew.
G'day, kia ora katoa, New Zealand. Awesome to be here. Just sweet, let's get into it.
Excellent. Andrew joins us today as my co-host. Brady will be back next week. And then, Andrew, you're coming back for a further 2 weeks after that. So, you've got some hot takes for us a little bit later on that we're going to discuss that hopefully should cause some debate, I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Excellent. So schedule for today is we've got hot scores coming up first. Then we've got Scott Woodhouse of Woodhouse Disc Golf, who will be popping by to have a quick chat, talk a little bit about what they do. And he's staying for Desert Island Disc Golf. We're then going to go to Andrew and his hot takes and then go through some of the events that are coming up over the next few weeks. And if you're in the capital this weekend, it is Hosker, and we'll be doing the draw for the themed round of Hosker this Saturday morning. So without further ado, we'll get into the hot scores, starting down in Invercargill. It's Jaden Menzies hits the hot score for the week with 16 under par. Well done to Jaden. And up at Chingford, Cameron Mackey hits 7 under par. To take, I think, his streak of hot scores at Chingford to quite some way. Mikey Yu's been out in Queenstown again, hitting 14 down at the Gardens, and it's Morgan Hartfeld at Tucker Beach who hits 10 under par for the hot score there. New name for Sweet Chain Live, Sean Dobbs hits 2 under par at Ely Point. Well done to Sean. And at Lismore, it's Cooper Solis and Andy Clune who both hit 9 under par for the hot scores this week. Over to Christchurch, and Les Payne hits the hot score at Jelly Park. Lots of people out at Jelly Park last weekend. Les Payne, top of the pile. And at Queen's Park Reserve, Ashton Clark hits 6 down, which is the same score he hits at Brooker Ave. Good enough at both courses for the hot score.
All right, on to the North Island, starting off in the capital. In Berhampore, it's Brady Cush tying his course record and Andy Davies' course record at Neg 8. Her Koikoi, Jaka De Wal, his Neg 5 is good enough to top the pops. Moving up the country to Harcourt Park, Ben Quinn comes in with an even to top the lot again. And then going up even further to Linklater, Neg 6 from Joel Simpson is the hot score for the week. Then to one of the hardest courses in the country. I've been there, it's beaten me up. McLaren Falls, Ian Underwood, +1 is good enough for the hot score. Then moving up to the biggest city in New Zealand, Woodhill on the red tees, Daniel Tidbury with his even, tops the pops. And across the city at Henderson Park, in that beautiful park, he's only got one name, he's that good. Weary, and his Neg 5 is the best score in the park.
Excellent. Some new names there. Some new names. It's always great to see some new names coming through, and a sign of the times, I think, especially when there's tournaments going on at the weekend, and it allows some different people to get a shout out. Now we're going to move on to Woodhouse Disc Golf, and I'm going to welcome at this time Scott Woodhouse. So good evening, Scott. One moment. Let me just get you on the right camera. There we are. How are you?
I'm good, Matt. Just, chilling at home finally after a busy day's work. So, no disc golf today, which is a bit unfortunate, but we're chilling. We're good.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Now, I know you very well. You're based up in Upper Hutt, and we've played many rounds together. But there might be people across the country who aren't sure or don't know you or kind of go Woodhouse Disc Golf. What's that about? So take it away. What's Woodhouse Disc Golf all about?
Woodhouse Disc Golf is probably not so much me, it's more of a group of us. I started disc golf probably, must be getting close to 2 years now, but really only seriously for about a year. We come from motorsport, so speedway, motocross, before that BMX. So this is our first probably non-full adrenaline junkie sport, I guess. But, the reason why I got into it was a whole bunch of concussions, and obviously I can't keep hitting my head hard. So this was something that just kind of one of my mates got me down to Harcourt Park. We had a few beers and started playing, and then so the rest is kind of just blowing up, like it's one of the most addicting things I've ever got into, and it's just so easy to to get people out there to play with, of all ages, and there's no criteria for disc golf. Anyone can do it. So that's one of the biggest things that got me hooked. But yeah, so it's just a Facebook page, and I've always done branding, obviously coming from motorsport and trying to get sponsorship for that, which is big money and stuff like that. So we've always had to brand our cars and stuff like that. So it was just natural for me. And obviously disc golf is exploding right now. Sorry, there's Alan bloody playing some stuff in the background, but yeah, it's exploding. And so the whole social media side is really starting to take off, and I guess I kind of wanted to be on the leading foot of it. And so we're doing a whole bunch of stuff around it, from making minis that you can see in the corner. That first place mini is from Kaitoki Waterworks, which Andy kindly let me borrow for this, so we can show that off a bit later. And just small things that make a difference, I guess, to promote disc golf and get it out and about.
Excellent. I mean, and you talked we'll talk a little bit about the branding element in a second, but you mentioned the Kaitoki Waterworks Championships. That was this weekend just gone?
Yeah, it was a big weekend. So that's something we started last year. Dad, well, my old man Chris Woodhouse, Woody, I don't know how many people know him, but him and Stan Morris have designed a course up at Kaitoki Waterworks, which is a campground just up the road from Harcourt. And we run it last year. We had just over 20 people or something, and it was just the Upper Hutt locals. This year we brought Disc Shop on to help us out a little more, mainly for the baskets, but then he did all the promotional side, and he really just blew it out of proportion, and we ended up with just about 60 people there. It was a complete another level up, and something cool for Wellington. I know everyone's crying out for events, so if we can do our little part and take a bit of the pressure off and give Wellington another event, then that's what we want to do. That course is going to be on the tour. I love it, but everyone else had a really good weekend, and we all got beat up. I went from a +13 in the first round to a +1, so you can get absolutely punished by it, and then you can have the round of your life afterwards. You've got to hit your placement shots. You've got to hit the gaps. You've got to be careful on what angle you're releasing the disc. It's as much as it's an open field, there's tight gaps to get through. So it was a crazy course really. And being a full 18 on there now with room to expand, it's just an opportunity for a cool course for New Zealand that you can only play once a year.
Yeah, I mean, it looked beautiful from the photos that we've seen, and I mean, I know the park. I've been there before, not playing disc golf, but it looks like a lovely place. It also looks like you're going to lose a hell of a lot of discs. So yeah, I mean, you talked about hitting your lines, keeping it tight. It'd be an interesting stop on the tour, certainly.
I think we've only got 2 left to find. So yeah, a lot of people lost their discs, but we got a lot of them back. So. There's a hole called Doom Valley, which there's some pictures going around on Facebook of us throwing off Mitch from Happy High's truck, who did an amazing job helping us set up marquees and doing the tee pads for us. And Ali was there, of course, as well as partner. But we actually threw off that truck across the valley, it looks more daunting than it is. You've probably got to make a 30, 40 meter shot to get across the valley. But again, if you turn your disc over and it goes right, then it ain't coming back. So there is gullies that you don't want to go down, but for the most part, I think most people managed.
Oh, good stuff. So it sounds like it's certainly going to go ahead in future years.
Yeah, this is going to be a yearly thing. Like I said, we can only do it once a year, but we will push it to a 2-day event the following, this year coming on. I'm not sure. We haven't got a date locked in just yet, but we are in talks with the park ranger. So we're going to get it locked in as soon as we can, give people plenty of notice, hopefully have it set up for practice on the Friday and then tournament Saturday, Sunday. So,
and would you do it this time of year again?
We do want to move it to kind of when we first did it, the past year. But again, it's not up to us really. It's the park ranger. So because during the summer that is completely packed with campers, and even when we played in the weekend, the ranger actually moved the campers around for us and placed them out the way. So we're at the mercy of him really. He picks the date and we just run with it.
No, that's fair enough. You got to, it's a pleasure, I would imagine, to play disc golf in that kind of environment. So yeah, you got to respect the local environment. Now, behind every great man, I hear that your wife does some disc dyeing as well as part of Woodhouse Disc Golf. And have you got any examples there that you can show off? I'm certainly aware of a lot of her work, and it looks very good.
We'll start off with one of the early ones. So this is one she's actually dyed first, and then she's hot dipped our brand on it.
Very nice.
So that's one there. And then one of her latest creations is Dora the Explorer.
Very good. Yeah.
So Explorer is one of her main discs. So this is definitely in the bag for her. But we're kind of creating all sorts of things now. Like she's even managed to go to the point of making key rings. I mean, I've got a lot of people around me. I mean, Woodhouse Disc Golf is not me by any means. Like Alistair, one of my best mates, is making these aluminium minis. So people that are winning tournaments, it's cool getting discs. But I kind of thought, the person who's winning the tournament has got their bag of discs. They know what they want to throw. So
yeah,
give them a trophy or something like that. Those are Cerakoted, which is a gun coating. So no one's going to be able to scratch it. You can play it as much as you want. These are actually some of the test prints. This might be too bright. So we did second and third, and it's got Kaitoki Waterworks on the back. So these are 3D printed by my good friend Lance, which I've got my own personal marker as well, which will have some of these coming out that people can buy as well, just to support sort of prizes for future events. Another thing Woodhouse Disc Golf likes to do is support everyone's event. So quite often I'll try and put up a disc at like your events, Matt, or stuff at Heiser, or I think we did a couple for Ryan Kiddo up in Palmy, just a hard luck award, or just something that doesn't go to the top players, something that goes to the entry level people. Is we're trying to make a community of people that just to go out and have fun and play disc golf.
That sounds great. It sounds great, and all the stuff you're doing is brilliant. And those minis look fantastic. I'll have to get myself one of them. What are your plans for the future then? What do you see? What have you got planned for maybe the next year or so?
We're currently working on a new permanent course for Upper Hutt. So it's very much in the pipeline at the moment. We're sort of halfway through getting. It's on the cusp at the moment, really. So I can't say that it's happening or it's not, but we're definitely, that's our biggest thing we're working towards at the moment is a new permanent course. Obviously, Dad and Stan do their pop-ups, so they're going to be getting pushed a lot more. Kaitoki is definitely established now, but we've still got the Twin Lakes course that we set up, and we've got another couple potential places to try and put it in. And then with the shot support and his 9 baskets, we can do full 18 going between the local guys' baskets and his as well. So it's making it a lot easier to make those pop-ups a lot more professional and in full courses.
Oh, good stuff. Good stuff. Look, it's been great to have a chat. Really enjoyed that. You're going to stay for Desert Island Disc Golf, so the premise. You're stranded on a desert island. You've got this desert island's got a disc golf course, which is fortunate. And fortunately, you also have free discs with you and free card mates. So what are you throwing?
Well, I'm going to have to pick for my driver my mainstay, which is my T-Bird Free. This disc is probably one of the first, well, it's definitely my first fancy disc I got. So I've got a Halo T-Bird Free. That's for sure.
Why are you picking the T-Bird Free? Just before you move on, why are you picking that?
T-Bird Free for me is something that's always been a reliable straight shot flyer. Obviously, my home course is Harcourt, so something that I can rely on to flip up and not do silly things because I've got to hit gaps. I've got to stay low quite a lot of the time. I mean, I can throw it reliably 60 meters, but I can also throw it over 100 meters, so I don't have to worry about learning too many discs. It's kind of like a one disc fits all. I can pretty much, I'd be quite happy to play Harcourt Park throwing that driver everywhere that I needed a driver. You don't really need anything else. So it's an all round good disc.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
What else?
Next disc, Zone. I've been playing with Kias quite a bit, and I tried to go full RPM. I've just put this back in the bag, and Matt will remember this well from Harcourt last year at Fault Line. It's definitely my reliable upshot, and it gets me out of a lot of trouble. So every time Matt was putting the pressure on, the Zone was definitely coming at the bag to get me out of it. But yeah, super reliable, overstable, which I like throwing. I don't have the best technique in the world. I'm definitely new to the game, so it takes out a lot of my faults, which is handy.
And what's your putter?
Putter, I picked this because it's platinum, but it's a Tui. So I putt with either Magma or Strata putters. I've just gone back to my Magma medium in winter. I was really struggling with the harder plastics in winter. And this is my first kind of full winter playing. So seeing how much all my disc change in winter has been gnarly. But this Platinum Tui has got a lot of throw-ins already. And I don't know what they do to the Platinum ones, but they go grouse. So if you can get hold of one, definitely take it.
Good stuff. Good stuff. And who are you playing with? Who are your free card mates?
Well, I've definitely got to put Ellen in there because, I mean, if I don't take my wife, then I'm going to get beaten anyway. So she's in there. I have to take the old man. One of the best things about playing disc golf is spending time with family. And so he's definitely right there coming with me. And because I can take a professional, I think Eagle McMahon is probably my go-to professional. He's an all-round disc golfer. He's got the epic forehand. He's got the epic backhand. And he just seems like a cool, down-to-earth guy. So he's coming with me too. Good
stuff. That sounds like a fun card. Excellent. Now we've got our 18 quick-fire questions for you now. Now, as you know, the first 9 are the family-friendly front 9. And then the back 9 is the safari 9. It's quick-fire. Are you ready?
I think so.
Okay, Andrew, go for it.
All right, we'll start off with the easy ones. What is your name?
Scott Woodhouse.
Where were you born?
In Upper Hutt.
Oh, where do you live now?
In Upper Hutt, born and bred.
That's how we like it. PDGA number?
I had to keep this on my screen over here. So 164826. Very new.
Nice and new. Yeah. How many years have you been playing?
Yeah, just on 2 years, I think.
And what's your favourite go-to disc?
Favourite go-to disc? That's the T-Bird. Said it before, say it again, always.
And your favourite course?
Oh, probably Rotorua at this stage. I want to say Kaitoki, but we'll go for permanent course, so Rotorua.
Favourite MPO player?
Eagle McMahon.
And rounding out the front 9, favourite FBO player?
Still Paige Pierce. She's having a tough run at the moment, but still Paige Pierce.
Good stuff. Keep the faith. Keep the faith. Okay, on to the back 9. So here we go. Question number 1. Swing or ride?
Oh, definitely ride.
Speedway or motocross?
Speedway.
RPM or discraft?
Oh, God, don't do this to me. RPM. RPM still.
Kahoo or Katari?
Oh, God, that's worse too. Katari.
Heiser or Anheuser?
Heiser.
Kaitoke or Harcourt?
Kaitoki.
Forehand or backhand?
Backhand.
Special edition stamp or custom die?
Special edition stamp.
Metal or plastic?
I have to go plastic now, don't I?
Good stuff. Scott, thank you so much for joining us tonight. That was a lot of fun and a good chat. And I'm sure that when you are in the position of releasing those minis for general sale, then certainly a lot of people are going to snap them up. So yeah, really good. Keep doing what you're doing. Fantastic effort, putting more back into the sport. And yeah, have a good one.
Thanks for the opportunity, mate. Really appreciate it.
All good.
Thanks, mate.
All good. All right. Speak to you soon.
See you, buddy.
Cheers. Okay, so that was Scott Woodhouse of Woodhouse Disc Golf. They're doing some great stuff up in Upper Hutt, and you've seen some of the stuff that him and his fan are producing. So get on it when they when you get chance to, and they'll all be at a fault line fury at the end of the month. So I'm sure that many people who perhaps live down south will get to see some of Scott's products then. Right, now we're going to move on to some hot takes. Andrew, thanks for joining us today. What have you got for us?
Well, I've got 3 hot takes for us. They've
Okay.
all come from us down the south, and obviously I want everyone that's watching, if you've got an opinion, chuck it in the comments. We might even bring it up.
Yep.
And that's some of these takes might be a bit excessive, but it's meant to generate thoughts and discussion, because that's how we take the sport forward.
Totally.
Doing
I'll
the
keep an
same
eye on
stuff
the
doesn't
comments.
always work. So the first one is coming from Bray Marsden, Disc Golf South Zone, and he's said that New Zealand needs a different maximum required ratings. So for the PDGA, when you're signing up in your divisions, some people, if your division, your rating's too high, you can't enter a division. So for someone that is 950 rated, they can't enter the intermediate division, or they can't enter the recreational division, and it has things like that. Now, what Bray's saying, and what I believe to agree with too, is that works for the US, but it doesn't quite work for New Zealand, because we don't quite have the quality. You know, someone that's an open player obviously in the US, they're 1,000 rated. An open play here might be about 930 rated, 940 rated, up to about 980, 990 if you get up to Jacko. So what would happen is the New Zealand Disc Golf Tour would have, I guess, when you're signing up for the events on the tour, would be able to say you have to be below this. So what Bray said, for an example, and this is a hot take in my opinion, is a maximum rating of 910 for anyone that plays advanced.
910.
If you want to play open, you have to, if you're over 910 rated, like I am, like so many other people in New Zealand are, you have to play open. To stop sandbaggers, like potentially he's accusing some of us of doing.
Okay. I think that's an interesting take. Okay, an interesting take. Okay. All right. So you're saying that 910 is about the right kind of area to go.
That's what Bray's saying. I'm not gonna. Don't hold me accountable for this.
All right. Okay. I think that's interesting, and I'd like to just jump back to a comment that you said about the kind of average, or I'm not sure the word you used, pro player. The number of players in the world rated over 1,000 is about 375 to 400. And so I'm not sure actually whether that's actually too low. I get the point, right? And it would frustrate me if I entered a division, because I'm very much an advanced player, so I'm going nowhere. And I'd get pretty frustrated actually if a 950 rated player came and played advanced. But I don't think there's a limit on it, is there, with PDGA? I think any rated player, providing it's, a pro can't enter an AM division unless their rating's low enough. But an AM rated at, I don't know, 1020 even could enter an intermediate division, and there wouldn't, there's nothing in the rules against it. I don't think. It'd be a bit of a a bots thing to do. I don't think would be very good.
I think it's the advanced effectively is the equivalent of Pro Open for amateur, so the Pro and the Am. So yes, a 1020 rated amateur could enter advanced, but a 1020 rated amateur couldn't enter something like intermediate, because there's that 930 division thing there. The way I see it is, our problem is we don't have enough divisions, and so most tournaments on the tour, we have probably an open and an advanced division. We don't have the intermediate, the rec, the novice that they do over in the States. And then if you bring in the intermediate, you'd probably see stronger players maybe be all right playing advanced that aren't taking cash, that aren't pro, and then more of the weaker players dropping down to the intermediate. So I think that's the step that needs to be taken. It's been taken in a few tournaments, but other tournaments we're only seeing the advanced, the open, or just even the open sometimes. And I think as our numbers are growing, tournaments will move that way.
Yeah, I think there's probably two things for me jump out of that. I mean, I think that if a player has played advanced for a long time, and they don't see a particular drop in their own performance, or they're not injured, I don't think they're just going to go in and enter an intermediate division. I think they'll stick to the division that they kind of know, if you like. I do think, should there be a cap? Should New Zealand say, look, here's some better guidelines? Yeah, I mean, the introduction of new divisions, I think, in the past was avoided to avoid divisions where you only had like 2 or 3 players, right? Because it kind of removes the competition element for those players, and in a part delegitimizes that division and the tournament as a whole as a result. So I can see as the growth of players gets higher, and as we see tournaments like Faultline, for example, and I'll pick that one because it's the next New Zealand tour event, going from 50 something players last year and 30 odd players the year before, maybe 40, jumping up to 90 this year. I think, yeah, you know, there probably is room for those intermediate and novice divisions. And certainly the women's global event, we didn't see any change or drop in competition as a result of having 4 divisions, and those 4 divisions excluded juniors. We had that had a good dozen or so players in novice, intermediate, about 8 in advanced, I think it was, and then 4 or 5 in the pro division. So yeah, no, let us know your thoughts. We'd be really interested to hear this one. I've certainly seen it. I think we've all seen results go, and we kind of, you know, raised eyebrow at the 950 rated player who's playing in advanced and they take it out by 13 shots or whatever. And it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting if that move was to happen. How would that change not only the behavior of players who perhaps have done that in the past, but also of everybody else?
Yeah, but I'm just looking at the comments here. We're seeing Morgan's gone for the 920 plus, so a bit higher than what Bray said. And then Mr. 16 under Menzies has also backed him up there.
Okay.
And then, of course, a classic from Levi Stout. He's asked, what rating does he have to be to move up from the junior divisions?
about 20 less than you are, I think, Levi, is the answer to that one.
He's
good stuff.
Yeah, obviously the age protected divisions, you're welcome to stay there.
Oh, but, totally. I would agree. I would agree with that. I'm just looking up very quickly, actually, whilst we're online, just how many players would be affected by this. So, number of currently registered players in New Zealand who, and I'll take Morgan's 920 rated as a benchmark. So, there are currently 79 players in New Zealand rated 920 or higher, and that's across the whole country. And then it increases pretty quick, right? So there's a lot of players rated in the sort of between 920 and I guess 890 range. It gets the base of the pyramid widens very quickly at that point. So yeah, I mean, we could probably do some analysis on it. I might get the data analysis team here at Sweet Chain Music to do some number crunching on that. Excellent. Okay. Well, any other anything else to add on that, or should we move on?
I think that's probably a natural end to that hot take.
Okay. Well,
so we'll move on. Also coming from Disc Golf South, Ethan Stouts, moving to the pro side of things, is the having more officials at the pro tournaments. So what he has suggested is having one official walk with every card around the whole course, so then that they can make an unbiased call in situations that come up.
What kind of calls?
So probably the three that come to head of my mind on the Pro Tour in the last year is Nico's excessive time taking when he takes his shots. So it's a more of a spirit of the law that he's breaking, not an actual law. So at Waco, the tournament he won, some people obviously he was under the spotlight a bit. He was taking about a minute 20 off each tee pad.
I saw it.
I can appreciate it when you're in the rough a bit more and you've got to figure out this new shot. But this is on a tee pad where he's got his game plan. He's checking the wind 5 times for some reason. And this is holding up play. It's slowing others down. But the other players, and it goes for any players, it happens for me, for anyone playing sport, it's awkward to make a call on someone else.
Yeah, totally.
It ruins the dynamic of the card. You don't want to bring in that negativity because a positive card is how you tend to play better. Secondly, a couple came from Worlds, or the Utah Open actually, just before Worlds, also involving Nico. He was in the bunker, but the bunker wasn't defined very well. It didn't have any rope or anything. And it was tough for the other people on his card to make a call on whether he was in or out, and they ended up giving benefit to the player. And also at the Worlds, with Page missing the Mando, obviously a big controversy. If you had someone that's their job, and it's meant to be our job to self-officiate as a card, but their job to look for foot faults or did they miss that Mando, you're going to get more accuracy on the card and hopefully have more legitimate tournaments and still preserve that positive card that is the reason why people don't pick others up on it.
See now, so I'm going to take a different view on this one. Okay, this is one that and I accept the Nico point totally. And if you're looking for a laugh, just to break away, Small Ball Outlaw have done a great video on YouTube about Nico's how long he takes. It's a 10-minute video and he makes 9 putts. So go and have a look at that after the show. Anyway, I'm going to disagree with this, and the reason is I come from an ultimate background. I play ultimate for 12, 15 years, and the focus and importance on self-officiating in ultimate is a lot more pronounced, I would say, than it is in disc golf. And that's largely because there are more fouls happening, there's more contact happening, and there's more players playing at the same time. So you kind of, the nature of the game says that you're going to have more times to call. And I was fortunate enough to play at many different levels at ultimate, up to world championship level. And I would say the fact that it was self-officiated, even at that high level, and I never got to the final or anything of these kind of competitions, but I did watch finals where players were talking about very contentious points. It was a case of, did you foul me whilst I was in the act of catching this disc? Where if it goes one way, a point is gained and could potentially win them the tournament, and in the other way, it's a turnover and the other team have got possession. So game-changing potential calls. And I think that one of the strengths of flying disc sports is its self-officiated nature. And so I think that it should be a case that the card should come together as a consensus and should reach an agreement. Ultimate, you've got sort of a semi-time pressure going, well, the clock's ticking on the game and everyone else is kind of standing around watching. With disc golf, you have less of that time pressure, I think, due to the nature of the game. So I don't think that I think there's fewer barriers in the way to disc golf being self-officiated than there is ultimate. And I think ultimate achieves it. And so I personally would like to, I'd like to see there not be officials. However, I do think that if I was the someone at Westside Discs, I'd perhaps be having a word with Nico going, hey, look, there's this perception. Now he may turn around and go, oh, do you know what? That's just me, and I don't care. And fair enough. All right. And then that might just be him. But I think ultimately the sport is bigger than him. And if you bring in a rule or a judgment for the sake of one player, that could detract from the enjoyment and from the benefits that all players get from it being run in that way. So that's my view.
It's a very legitimate view that I wanted to ask, obviously coming from your ultimate background, what your thoughts are on it. So just, I guess, going a bit further on what Ethan was proposing. Currently, UDisc at all the Pro Tours, they have one person accompanying the card for the scoring and tracking all the stats.
Yeah.
So potentially that person could make those calls. There's obviously, I guess, a few things with that. Currently, they're just volunteers. I'm not quite sure how much they need to know, but I'm not sure if they need to be a PDGA official to do it. But then it becomes a job. It's more of a hassle, and then a lot of that becomes resources. So do you want to pay 18 people to tour the country as well to do all those tournaments? And that's how the Golf PGA Tour do it. They have people that tour the country, and obviously their resources are a lot bigger than what we currently have. But anyway, I guess I think as the Pro Tours resources do get slightly larger, there just needs to be a couple more officials roaming the course, because currently at the moment it might just be a tournament director, maybe an assistant tournament director, and they can always be busy. But if you have a couple more roaming the course, one for every 3 holes, you could maybe call one over and make that call that way.
I think it comes for me. It still comes back to the spirit of the game. But we've had 2 people make the same comment. Actually, we've had it might just be the same person on different platforms.
Just Tom.
I think Tom said could introduce a shot clock like in basketball on the tee once you step on the tee, if that's the main area of concern. And I don't. And this brings me back to the point on Nico. I don't think, for generally speaking, for the vast majority of players, it's a major concern. I don't think players taking long on the tee is a problem. If it's a problem for one person, I don't believe that the rules should or the way in which those rules are enforced should be changed because of one player. And I don't think that that's the right thing to do. And also, what would you do? Penalize them? Give them a penalty shot? I don't know.
I think that's how it works. Well, the thing is, at the moment, I guess to counter that is it's not working. He's not changing. He's arguably at times getting worse in terms of the times. But you are right. It's just one person. But there needs to be a way for him to be spoken to, and he knows he does it. And I guess just to fix it, it's not, if we spend, let's say, for coverage, and they watching Nico, he's on lead card and he's taken 1.5 minutes. That's how you lose viewers, when he takes so long to take a shot. You want quick coverage.
Yeah, I guess live coverage. See, even there, I think in post you probably cut it out or you make a joke of it.
You can do it, yeah.
And if it's live, well, you're watching it for like 5 hours anyway, right? So it's a couple of minutes, and you could always just go, he's going to be a minute. We'll flash to another card and see what's going on there. So, I think interesting topic, and I take your point that he's perhaps not getting any better. It'll be interesting to see what action, if any, is taken over time. I think Simon Lizotte mentioned in an interview that it, just like you did, that it really brings it down on the whole card, and that affects all the other players, and unfairly so, perhaps. So, yeah, interesting. Okay, what else have we got?
The final one. This one's from me, although I've probably heard it from one of the podcasts. Is standstills and sand bunkers. So at the moment, as we move to more open courses. So from the Pro Tour, this is to improve spectator viewing. We're getting onto these golf courses that have bunkers, and at times they can seem clunky. At the preserve just the last weekend, there's all these sand bunkers around the course, but they're just there. He's not playing a hazard like some people like to play them like that, and it just seems like it feels awkward and it doesn't really work. So what I propose is that if you land in a sand bunker, you have to throw a standstill. Now, the benefits, in my opinion, for this is that the standstills, especially out on the open courses, becomes a skill set that's not valued as much. So a couple of weeks ago, Corey Ellis, a little lower known pro, he was throwing 500 foot, about 160 meter standstills, and everyone's like, whoa, this is incredible. But his ability to do that doesn't really achieve him anything, especially on these long golf courses. So if you put these fairway bunkers in, like they have in golf, they don't always have them up by the green, they have them along the fairway on these long par fours, par fives, and you land in one, let's say the 1500 foot, 500 meter hole we've just had at the preserve. Imagine landing in one. Now suddenly you can only throw 120 meters from the bunker. It ruins your chance at birdie, and so it's adding an extra dynamic to the course. You'd see people like Corey do really well, and people like James Conrad, well, he'd have a nightmare, honestly.
So are you saying sand bunkers specifically, or any hazard?
I don't think it necessarily has to be sand bunkers. I think we need to learn to make our sport our own. So I know there's a shortage on sand anyway, potentially. But if we are crafting our own courses, and so let's say it is sand bunkers, though, we have this nice red sand that looks really nice and cool and appealing. Any sand bunker you land into, it would be different, I guess, a different set of rules. Obviously, there's so many rules of bunker rules and hazard rules and OBs and stroke and distance. I think it's something to try when the sport is still relatively so young, is to try new things. It doesn't need to be on the Pro Tour. We can just have PDGA allow tournament directors to choose it. Like you can choose to implement the 2 meter rule and then see how it goes from there.
Yeah, okay. That's an interesting one. Actually. I'm trying to think of the courses in New Zealand with sand bunkers. I'll see Inglewood. And there's Queen's Park better than I do. And so especially the tournament side, where they do use the golf course. So I can imagine that would be a thing. Yeah, and I agree. If you've got a skill in getting distance off a standstill throw, then disc golf doesn't reward you for that skill in the same way as distance period does. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's a fair point. Yeah.
Yeah, I just like to see like Kevin Jones and his grenade, just different shots that we can show. We've got the roller. That's the thing that's probably more different to golf, where it's just one shot. Obviously, they do a lot more, and I tried to play golf. I wasn't very good at it, but being able to see these people lay down these crazy rollers, these crazy overheads, it's a special, unique thing to our sport. And potentially having the standstills there could be another part of it if we had standstills from sand bunkers.
Interesting, very interesting thought. And yes, look, let us know what you think, and especially if you're designing a course that's got lots of sand bunkers. We'd love to hear from you as to what do you think the rule should be. Good stuff. Good stuff. Okay, Andrew, we've got plenty of disc golf coming up over the next few weeks. We've got Hoscar this Saturday. We're going to do the draw for that imminently. The following week is Rapture. I think I've got one entry left, one or two, maybe two. You can see some of the discs behind me. You can't see some of the discs behind me. We've got some lovely Rapture stamps of Ruru. And we got all sorts of goodies for that weekend. I think there's one or two spots left. Weekend after that is the Charge in Christchurch, one-day event that Dave Rose is putting on in South Christchurch, and the weekend after that is Fault Line Fury on the 28th and 29th in Upper Hutt. So yeah, very much looking forward to that. A few events to let you know of. Morgan's Hartwelt is organising a one-day Flexi Tea event the day before the Wahitapu, so make sure that you're involved in that if you are in the area, especially if you're playing. It's another opportunity to I quite like the little Flexi Tea little one-day sea tiers that you have before events. I quite like that. It's a nice little warm-up. So yeah, get yourself down to that event if you can. Andrew, do you want to tell us about the Heislander?
The Heislander, well, we're currently in the middle of registrations. So just like North Islands, we've tried to, with our tournament selling out, so I think we still currently hold the largest amount of players from this year. It was 119 people entered, and we expect it just to go up even more. So we're aiming for 140, as much as we can take, plus a couple of rec players just to play on the Saturday. So we did some pre-registration, and then we've just opened up to the Tier 1. So if you are from last year on the tour, the top 40 in the men or the top 10 in the women, you are invited to enter. Or if you've got a PDGA rating of above 940 for the men and above 800 for women, you're also invited to register. And that's just to give some reward to our top players. Obviously, we want the best players out of tournament, and to reward people that are on the tour a lot. And so they have a guaranteed chance to get in, because it's going to be crazy at the moment. So it's an awesome tournament. I'm now going to be assistant tournament director for next year. Obviously, Tom is the big boss man, and it is a tournament, in my opinion anyway, that has the most variation. So it's got some really tight wooded holes, some elevation changes, and then some nice open holes as well. So that's the last weekend of January. I want to say the 28th and the 29th of January next year. It's the first tournament on the tour. And if you want to register next Saturday, not this one coming, at 7 p.m, registration will be open. So lock that in your diaries, set your alarm clocks. It may sell out, so it's always better to be safe than sorry.
Absolutely. I'd love to come down for that tournament. So yeah, I shall set my alarm for that time. Good stuff. Just had a quick message to say that the Roxburgh Open Rego opens on September the 15th. I don't know if that is the tournament on September the 15th, or does Rego open on September the 15th?
It's the tournament's, I want to say, 1 or 2 weeks before Heislander, so the middle of January.
Okay. Middle of
January.
January.
It's a one-day thing at the beautiful Roxburgh golf course. It's got these beautiful rocks. I didn't go to it this year, but playing on a golf course, it's awesome. It's got these nice long fairways, all these cool elevation changes. Yeah, you won't want to miss it.
Good stuff. So another date for your diary to lock that in for registrations. Good stuff. Okay, if you're in the capital this weekend, then Hoscar is on Saturday morning. So make sure you get involved in that. We're going to do a quick draw of the options. So we had Petone Extreme and putters only. Now Petone Extreme is a variant. We play the same tees and the same baskets as the front 9 at Petone. but we play with a few mandos. So hole 1, there's a mando tree left. Hole 4 is an island hole. Various other bits and pieces. I'll go through in a little bit more detail on Saturday morning if it wins. But here we go. It was a pretty tight. I think 10 people went for extreme and 7 people went for putters. So let's see who's going to win. Give it a quick shuffle, and off we go. I want Petone Extreme to win personally, but we shall see. We've been ousted this time. We are going to be playing with putters on Saturday morning. So just for your information, that is the first round at Petone is nothing higher than a speed 4. Speed 4 is the highest disc you may use. Don't worry, Petone Extreme will roll over to next month, where the choices will be Petone Extreme, back 9, and single disc. So get involved with that. We'll see you on Saturday morning. Now, Andrew, you're going to be Brady's going to be back with us next week. Then you're coming back for a future for the 2 weeks after. So you'll be with us when we go through previewing the charge and also fault lines. So yeah, we shall see you for that. Thank you very much for joining me. Thank you very much for watching. You can check us out on Spotify, on YouTube, and on Facebook Live. Have a great week, and I shall see you next time.
See ya.